What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new video. Today I got my top 3 favorite slash I think kind of, to be honest, best weapons. Of course it's always kind of personal preference and the way you play. Well, at least my top 3 favorite weapons, including their setup, the attachments I use on them. So yeah, let's get right into it. These are all the weapons that are available right now in the beta. So yeah. The first weapon I'm going to be talking about is the PBX45. I actually started off the game with this weapon and I kind of didn't like it until I found some attachments that improved the weapon a lot. Also, I used iron sight on this weapon, and normally I would be using a sight, but for some reason iron sight on this weapon worked by far the best for me. This weapon is good for close range, mid range. It's not very good for long range, but for an SMG it has quite low recoil. So it's very controllable. Like the K30, the other SMG, it's very high recoil, but it's really good up close. This one is kind of like, it's a very all-rounded SMG, which makes it able to be more useful, especially on the beta map right now. It's got more range. Of course, it's going to be worse up close, so for the really aggressive playstyle, it isn't the all-time best, but it's still really good. It kind of fits my playstyle perfectly. I like to be in like the mid-range, close range gunfights, and this gun works perfectly. It's got good hip fire, iron sight is nice, and the range is actually quite decent on it, for especially for the TTK we have in this game. So yeah. Alright, so now on to the attachments for the PBX45. What I personally use is I use the iron sight and I use the standard mag. You also have the high power mag, which obviously increases the damage, but you lose 10 bullets, and with a high TTK game like this, I personally would rather have the 30 bullets than the high power bullets. Then I go with a foregrip. Obviously better for stability and increases the range, because the gun is already pretty good at close range, so you don't really need to do anything about that. And then for the barrel I use the extended barrel, which again increases the range, which makes it more of an overall weapon. So this is what I would use on the PBX 45. And then for the sight, obviously it's kind of personal. I've tried the K8 hollow sight. I personally didn't like this. It's not bad at all. It's actually very good. But for some reason I was beaming way more with the iron sights. So this would be the setup I would be using on the KBX45. Alright, so up next is the K30, which is the other SMG. This SMG, if you get up close with this SMG, you will literally not lose a single gunfight. The other SMG is more like all range. This is more close range. So if you're a really aggressive player, you're gonna love this weapon. For the slower player, I would recommend the weapon that comes after this. But for the really aggressive close quarter player, this will be your go-to weapon. The recoil is a little bit of a learning pattern. Once you get that down, you can beam people from some range, but up close it kills faster than anything. For the Battlefield 5 players, this is literally the Type 2A for Battlefield 2042. I don't think even this is the well, obviously I don't think this is the optimal map for this weapon, but even if you manage to get yourself in the close range gunfights, if you manage to find yourself around the buildings on the D flag, maybe between B as well, you can really just farm yourself a bunch of kills with the K30. I used this a lot in the pre-beta, and it was by far the best gun for me. It's kind of rough to use on the map sometimes if you get yourself caught up in the open. For mid to long range, you're gonna pretty much lose a lot of gunfights. But I think when the full game comes out and you're gonna have the more of the city maps, you know, with buildings, more close range gunfights, or different game modes as well, this will be probably the best gun for the close range combat for sure. But we're gonna have to wait to see what the full game is gonna look like. So onto the attachments. Alright, so for the K30, the attachments that I use are, I definitely would recommend going with the extended mag. It changes the gun from 20 bullets to 40 bullets, so that's quite an obvious one. Then you want to use the foregrip for sure. And then I personally use a silencer. You can also not use the silencer. You lose a little bit of firepower with this, but obviously it's more stealthy for the flanks. And up close range, you don't really notice the lose of firepower. For range, you're going to notice it already. So if you're like in a mid-range gunfights and it takes a couple of extra bullets, and that's because of the silencer. I personally most of the time use the silencer. And then for the sights, I like the Fusion Hollow, which is this one. This one is like the most. So this is pretty much the setup I use for the K30. Also a little bit of a recommendation, which doesn't have to do with the gun, but it also kind of does. You kind of want to use the grappling hook. This will allow you to closer distance to the enemy faster in case you see enemies from a distance. You can grapple hook fast to them, or you know, stuff like that. Also, what I recommend is hip firing with this weapon a lot. The hip fire with this gun is really OP, very accurate, so you don't really need to use ADS that much. Most of your gunfights, you kind of want to be in that hip fire range, and then you will literally win every single gunfight. So yeah, that's the attachments for the K30. So for the best weapon in the beta, I would go with the M5A3. It is a very dominant weapon, especially on the map where you get to play orbital. It can survive in any situation pretty much. What I like about the gun is that for an assault rifle, it's actually very good up close. The hip fire is decent. I actually prefer hip firing point blank than ADSing, which I normally wouldn't do with assault rifles. But it's like kind of the bigger brother of the PBX45, the gun that was earlier in this video. It's like the same gun, but it has a little bit more range. It's a little bit worse up close, obviously, because it's an assault rifle versus an SMG. But just specifically for the map Orbital, this will be your go-to gun. Also, if you're a little bit of a slower player, you will be able to work great with this weapon. So yeah, onto the attachments. Alright, so for the attachments on the M5, let's start on the mag. You want to use the default mag. The other mags are not worth it by far. The extended mag will only give you 5 extra bullets, so it goes from 31 to 36. Or the higher power mag will go to 20 rounds, which you really don't want to have in the orbital map. It takes too many bullets to kill. Having a smaller mag, you'll find yourself reloading after every single kill. Unless you're really accurate. I would just recommend using the standard mag. For the grip, you want to use the Cobra grip. And then for the barrel, you want to go with the furthest one on the left. This will give it a little bit more accuracy. The standard one is good as well. But yeah, you want to kind of go with a little bit more accuracy. It's the Arcom Tactical Muzzle Brake. And then for a sight, I find myself switching between the iron sight, which is kind of similar to the PBX45, or the Fusion Hollow. I personally didn't really like the 3x scope, but the iron sight was actually surprisingly good. I would definitely recommend giving that at least a try. And otherwise go with the Fusion Hollow, which is also very good. I switch between those sides quite a lot. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you did, be sure to drop a like, that would be much appreciated. Don't forget to check out more of my content. Subscribing is always appreciated. But yeah, I hope you at least learned something from this video. This is my top 3 favorite weapons. Which I also think is at least the M5 is probably the best weapon in the game right now. And the other 2 weapons obviously are worth checking out as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you have an amazing day. See you in the next one. Bye. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Quick reminder, I have 2 other channels besides this channel where I upload more Battlefield content. So in case you want to see more content, be sure to check out those channels. I got a shorts channel which I upload highlights, funny moments, all in short clips, and then I have a gameplays channel where I upload full, raw, unedited gameplay. So if you want to see more content, be sure to check out my other channels as well.